Welcome to The Explainer. Feeling completely overwhelmed by that never-ending flood of emails, notifications, and to-do lists? Well, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into Graham Allcott's How to Be a Productivity Ninja to find a totally new way to conquer the chaos and get your focus back.
All right, let's just kick things off with a really bold statement from the book. The old way of doing things is broken. Time management, as we know it, it's dead.
I mean, come on, we've all been there, right? You're busy all day long, you're putting out fires, you're answering messages, but then you look at the clock, it's 5 p.m., and your actual to-do list hasn't even been touched. Now, this isn't some personal failure. It's a sign that the system itself is broken. And the next slide really shows us why.
And this right here is the problem. Think about it. The old productivity methods, like a simple daily to-do list, they were designed for a much slower world of paper memos and maybe a few phone calls. They were never, ever built to handle the constant 24/7 flood of information that's hitting us from every direction today. We're not just busy, we're literally buried.
So if the old way is totally broken, what's the new way? Well, the book offers up a new path, a new way of thinking for this modern world we live in, the way of the productivity ninja.
And this is just so important to get right away. Becoming a ninja isn't about suddenly getting superpowers. It's about understanding that ordinary people, just like you and me, can get extraordinary things done just by using smarter, more modern habits at work.
So a productivity ninja isn't just someone with a clean inbox. No, they've mastered a whole new set of skills and systems that are built specifically for today's world of constant information overload. The goal here is simple: get more done, but with way less effort and stress.
These are the core qualities of a ninja. You've got Zen-Like calm, which comes from having a system you actually trust. You've got ruthlessness, which is all about fiercely protecting your time and attention. And weapons savviness, which means knowing how to use your tools, not let them use you. It all comes together to form this practical philosophy for managing your attention, not just your time. And that right there is probably the single most important shift in the entire book. Stop trying to manage your time and start managing your attention. And to do that, you first have to understand the two very different hats you wear every single day.
In most modern jobs, you're not just doing one simple task. You're the one deciding which tasks to do, how they should be done, and then you're also the one who has to do them. This creates this constant internal battle that just absolutely drains our focus.
This chart just lays it out so clearly. You've got boss mode, that's the strategic part, the thinking, the planning, and then you've got worker mode, that's the tactical stuff, the actual doing. The huge problem is most of us are switching between these two modes all day long, totally at random, and it creates a ton of stress and just kills our concentration. So how do we fix this?
So how do you actually separate these two roles so you can get things done? Well, you need a system that lives completely outside of your own head.
This is key. Your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. When you try to remember every little task, every appointment, every single "oh, I should do that," it is just a recipe for anxiety. The goal is to get all of that stuff out of your head and into a trusted external system you can rely on.
And the great news is, building this second brain isn't some super complicated process. In fact, it's based on a really clear 4-part framework that's all about taking action.
And this is it. The cord model. This is the engine that makes the whole system go. First, you capture every single task, idea, and nagging thought in one place, a notebook, an app, whatever. Then you organize it all, figuring out what everything means and where it needs to go. You review your system on a regular basis, maybe once a week to stay on track. And finally, with total clarity, you do the work. It's a continuous cycle that brings calm and, most importantly, focus.
At the end of the day, this whole external system isn't just about getting organized. It's about building this deep foundation of confidence that's just impossible to have when you're trying to juggle everything inside your head.
This is the question. With a trusted second brain, you can finally honestly answer yes. You're not worried about what you might be forgetting because you know it's all captured and organized somewhere. You can finally be fully present in the task you're doing right now.
But let's be honest. Even with the absolute best system in the world, sometimes the biggest thing standing in our way is us. There's an enemy inside our own heads that we have to understand and overcome.
The book calls this the lizard brain.
It's that primal, ancient, instinctual part of us that's only concerned with survival. Its only goals are safety and comfort. It's terrified of risk, it hates standing out, and it is the true source of our procrastination, our self-doubt, and our resistance to doing important work. Does any of this look a little familiar? The sudden urge to go make coffee, or endlessly checking your phone, or, hey, even just sharpening pencils. These are all the little delay tactics our lizard brain uses to keep us away from difficult or scary work. Just recognizing these behaviors for what they are, acts of resistance, is the first, most important step to beating them.
And this really brings us to the ultimate message of the productivity ninja. Once you have a system to handle all the external noise and a strategy to overcome your own internal resistance, the real limits on what you can do aren't your time or your skill. They're your imagination.
Look, the end goal here isn't to become some kind of robot that just cranks out tasks. It's about finding what the author calls a state of playful, productive momentum. It's about freeing up all that mental energy so you can finally apply it to the work that actually excites you, the projects you really care about, and the ideas you want to bring to life.
So, let's just end with this one question. Once you're no longer buried under a mountain of emails, and you're no longer fighting your own resistance every step of the way, what will you finally have the space to create? What is the masterpiece that you are now finally free to build?